Welcome, dear viewers. For more exclusive, thrilling stories every week, join our membership. Sit back, relax, and sip your coffee. Enjoy. I jolt awake, lungs burning for air and sheets soaked with sweat. The same nightmare again, the one where my brother Andy's face contorts into something inhuman as he reaches for me with spindly fingers that stretch too far. His eyes hollow out, black as coal pits, while he whispers my name. Mason, Mason, don't leave me here, in a voice that bubbles like creek water over stones. But I did leave him, not in some supernatural hellscape, but at Rockland Memorial Cemetery on the outskirts of Beckley, West Virginia, on a slate-gray December morning with a bitter wind cutting through my cheap suit. I stood there while they lowered his casket into frozen ground, prescription pill bottles still rattling in my coat pocket. Oxy for my back pain, Xanax for the anxiety that followed. Ambien because I couldn't remember what sleeping without pharmaceutical help felt like. That was 16 months ago. Now I'm here in Pineville, a dying coal town tucked between the ridges of Wyoming County, where the mountains fold in on themselves like they're trying to hide something. Most residents look like they've been holding their breath for decades, waiting for the mines to reopen or for God to finally answer their prayers, whichever comes first. I roll over and squint at the red numbers on my alarm clock. 3:17 a.m. Great. My shift at New Horizon Rehabilitation Center starts at 7 o'clock, and I know from experience that sleep won't come back now. I swing my legs over the side of the bed in my rented duplex on River Road and rub my face. The place still doesn't feel like home even after 3 months, but nothing has since Andy died. It's ironic, I suppose. I came to New Horizon as part of my own recovery journey, poetic justice that I'd help others battling the same demons that took my brother and nearly claimed me. Dr. Eliza Harmon, the facility director, hired me despite my lack of formal qualifications because, as she put it, your experience is more valuable than any degree. At the time, I found that touching. Now I wonder if it was desperation. Good counselors don't exactly flock to remote Appalachian rehabilitation centers. New Horizon sits on what used to be the Blackwood Coal Company property, a sprawling campus of red brick buildings nestled against Pinnacle Creek. The administrative paperwork claims it was fully renovated in 2015, but that's generous. The floors still creak in the dormitory wing, and sometimes the electricity cuts out during storms, leaving us in darkness that feels almost sentient. I shuffle to the bathroom and splash cold water on my face. My reflection looks hollowed out, deep shadows beneath my eyes. I've lost weight since moving here, cheekbones more prominent than they should be. When I drift through town, I catch whispers. I'm the city boy from Charleston who doesn't understand how things work in the hollows. And they're right. 3 months in, and I still don't understand half of what happens at New Horizon. The odd rules that Dr. Harmon insisted I memorize on my first day. The way certain patients speak about the singing from the woods during group therapy. The locked east wing that no one ever mentions. The fact that the janitor, old Bill Miller, always leaves precisely at sundown, no matter the season. I reach for the notebook I keep by my bed and flip through the pages, finding the list I wrote during orientation. 7 rules, handwritten in my uneven scrawl. Never schedule outdoor activities after 7:30 p.m., regardless of season. If you hear whistling in the hallways after hours, stay in your office with the door closed. Room 237 is permanently closed due to water damage. Do not attempt to open it. Acknowledge all greetings from patients, even if they speak out of turn during sessions. If the lights flicker 3 times consecutively, end your session immediately and return to the staff area. Never accept gifts from the visitors who come on the last Sunday of each month. If you see someone walking backwards on the grounds, do not approach them or call attention to it. At first, I thought these were metaphors, some kind of treatment philosophy I didn't understand. Maybe codes for dealing with violent patients or relapse situations. Now I'm not so sure. In the kitchen, I make coffee strong enough to strip paint and open my laptop. A new email from Dr. Harmon waits in my inbox, time-stamped 2:34 a.m. Mason, please come to my office before your shift tomorrow. We need to discuss the incident with patient Lowell. Bring your rules sheet. My stomach tightens. There was no incident with patient Lowell, at least not one I remember. The drive to New Horizon takes exactly 17 minutes from my duplex, winding along Route 10 where the Guyandata River cuts through the valley. This morning, a thick mist hangs over the water, transforming the coal-scarred mountains into spectral silhouettes. I pass the abandoned Pinnacle Mine entrance, its rusted gate padlocked and warning signs faded by decades of harsh weather. When I pull into the staff parking lot at 6:43 a.m., Dr. Harmon's silver Subaru is already there, as is old Bill Miller's dented Ford pickup. The facility looms against the brightening sky, a collection of 3 interconnected brick buildings constructed in the 1950s when Blackwood coal was at its peak. I grab my thermos and the rules notebook, pausing to check my reflection in the rearview mirror. The dark circles under my eyes make me look haunted, but there's nothing to be done about that now. A light flicks on in Dr. Harmon's ground floor office window, and I take it as my cue. The main entrance requires a key card, and the electronic lock beeps cheerfully as I pass through. Inside, the fluorescent lights cast everything in a sickly pallor. The main hallway stretches before me, administrative offices to the left, common areas to the right, and patient wings branching from the central hub. The building smells of industrial disinfectant with undertones of something earthy I've never been able to identify. "Morning, Mason?" calls Nurse Lee Campbell from the medication station. She's in her 50s, with salt and pepper hair pulled into a tight bun. "You look like hell warmed over." "Didn't sleep well," I admit, forcing a smile. "Join the club." Had to sedate Parker Wilson at 2 a.m. Boy was screaming about shadows crawling up the walls. She shakes her head, sorting pills into labeled dispensers. "Dr. Harmon's waiting for you." Seemed tense. I nod my thanks and continue down the hallway. As I pass room 237, I feel the familiar chill. The door, permanently locked according to Rule 3, has water stains bleeding from beneath it, despite maintenance claiming they fixed the issue multiple times. I always walk a little faster past this spot. Dr. Eliza Harmon's office door stands ajar, warm light spilling into the corridor. I knock anyway. "Come in, Mason." She sits behind her cluttered desk, hair still damp from a morning shower. Dr. Harmon is younger than you'd expect for a facility director, mid-40s with intelligent green eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Local rumors claim she returned to West Virginia after a prestigious career at Johns Hopkins, though no one seems to know why. "You got my email?" she says. Not a question. "Yes, though I'm confused. I don't recall any incident with Lowell." She gestures to the chair across from her. "That's concerning. Samuel Lowell, the miner admitted last week with methamphetamine psychosis. You had a one-on-one session with him yesterday afternoon." I sit, uncomfortable. I remember the session. It was routine. We discussed triggers and support systems. Dr. Harmon removes her glasses, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Mason, according to 3 staff members, you and Mr. Lowell had to be separated after he became agitated. He claimed you weren't, and I quote, 'the real Mason Keller.' My blood runs cold. That's impossible. Our session ended at 4:30. Then I completed paperwork until my shift ended at 6. She studies me, concern evident in a crease between her eyebrows. You don't remember Nurse Campbell and Dr. Whitaker restraining Mr. Lowell, or him screaming that you were empty inside? I swallow hard. No, none of that happened. Dr. Harmon reaches into her desk drawer and retrieves a USB drive. Our security system captured this. I'd like you to watch it, but first, she extends her hand. I need to see your rules sheet. I pass her my notebook, open to the page with the 7 rules. She scans it carefully, then adds something in neat handwriting at the bottom. When she passes it back, there's an 8th rule. 8. If you experience missing time, report it immediately to Dr. Harmon. Do not discuss it with patients or other staff. I don't understand, I say, staring at the new edition. Watch the footage, Mason. She inserts the drive into her laptop and turns the screen toward me. The security video shows the main therapy room. There I am, sitting across from Samuel Lowell, a gaunt man in his 50s with trembling hands. The timestamp reads 4:47 p.m., after I thought our session had ended. There's no audio, but it's clear we're arguing. Lowell suddenly stands, pointing at me accusingly. His mouth forms words I can't make out. Then, most disturbing of all, I see myself smile in a way that doesn't look like me at all. A wide, unnatural stretch of lips. 2 orderlies rush in as Lowell throws his chair. That's not... I struggle to form a coherent thought. I would remember this. Would you? Dr. Harmon closes the laptop. You've been taking Ambien for sleep issues. Gaps in memory are a known side effect. It sounds reasonable, but something feels wrong. I didn't take Ambien yesterday. Are you certain? Her tone is gentle but probing. Before I can answer, the facility's PA system crackles to life. Code yellow in the East Wing. Code yellow. Dr. Harmon stands immediately. We'll continue this discussion later. For now, I need you to run the 8 a.m. group session in the main hall. And Mason? Her voice drops. Check your office carefully before you begin. Check for what? Anything that doesn't belong. As I leave her office, I notice a framed photo on her bookshelf I've never seen before. Dr. Harmon standing beside old Bill Miller in front of what looks like a mine entrance. They're much younger, and between them stands a thin man with hollow cheeks, who looks eerily familiar. He looks like me. My office is a cramped, converted storage room in the West Wing. Just enough space for a desk, 2 chairs, and a small bookshelf filled with recovery literature. As instructed, I check it carefully. Nothing seems out of place until I open my desk drawer. Inside lies a small carving of a deer made from dark wood I don't recognize. I've never seen it before. When I pick it up, the wood feels unnaturally cold and heavy, like it's absorbing the warmth from my fingers. Turning it over, I find initials carved into the bottom. S.L. Samuel Lowell, the patient I supposedly had an incident with. I drop the figurine back into the drawer and slam it shut. My hands are shaking as I gather the materials for the morning group session. The main hall is slowly filling with patients by the time I arrive. Circular formation of chairs, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, wall-mounted clock ticking away. Familiar. Safe. I focus on setting up, trying to ignore the deer carving weighing on my mind. 8 patients shuffle in, taking their usual seats. I recognize most of them. Margaret Yates, an elderly woman with a prescription painkiller addiction. Tyler Brooks, a former coal miner battling alcoholism. Jessica Chin, a college student caught selling Adderall. The Davidson twins, 19 and strung out on heroin when they arrived 3 weeks ago. Frank Pearson, a former high school football coach with a gambling problem. And Donna Wilcox, who started with pain pills after a car accident. The 8th patient is new, Samuel Lowell. His appearance startles me. In person, he looks much worse than in the security footage, his skin gray and papery, eyes deeply sunken. When our gazes meet, he flinches visibly but takes a seat in the circle. "Good morning, everyone," I begin, trying to keep my voice steady. "Today we're discussing coping mechanisms for triggering situations. Who wants to start?" We move through the session methodically. Margaret talks about her grandchildren's upcoming visit, how she worries about managing pain without pills. Tyler discusses his anxiety about the mine safety inspector job interview next week. Normal, productive therapy. But I can't stop noticing how Samuel Lowell watches me. He hasn't spoken a word, and whenever I look directly at him, he studies his hands. Halfway through the session, the lights flicker once. Not the 3 consecutive flashes mentioned in Rule 5, but enough to make me tense. "Damn wiring in this place," Frank mutters, always acting up. "Like everything else in Wyoming County," Tyler adds with a bitter laugh. "Infrastructure's falling apart faster than we can patch it." "It's not the wiring," Samuel speaks suddenly, his voice a scratchy whisper. Everyone turns to look at him. It's them letting us know they're listening. The room falls silent. I should redirect the conversation, but curiosity gets the better of me. "Who's listening, Samuel?" He looks up, eyes locking with mine. The ones who walk in other people's skin. The ones who whistle in the dark. His gaze intensifies. The ones who look like people we know but aren't. They come from the old tunnels. Jessica Chen rolls her eyes. "Great. Another conspiracy theorist. Let me guess, aliens? Government experiments?" "No," Samuel says, still staring at me. "Much older than that. They were here before the mines, before the settlers. The Shawnee knew about them. Called them Managishi, the tunnel dwellers." His voice drops even lower. "They get inside you when you're not paying attention. When you're high, or drunk, or sleeping. They borrow you." "That's enough, Mr. Lowell," I say firmly, heart racing. "We're here to discuss recovery strategies, not folklore. Is that what Dr. Harmon told you this is about? Recovery?" Samuel's laugh is hollow. "Ask her about the East Wing. Ask her about room 237. Ask her about the missing patients." "Missing patients?" one of the Davidson twins asks. "There are no missing patients," I assert, trying to regain control of the session. Mr. Lowell is still adjusting to the facility. Lowell leans forward. "What about Angela Richards? She was here last month. Or Michael Dawson. Or Teresa Hollins. All gone. Staff says they were transferred, but there ain't no transfer paperwork." Frank shifts uncomfortably. "Come to think of it, I haven't seen Angela in a while." "Because she's gone," Samuel insists. "They took her, like they're trying to take you, Mr. Keller." A chill runs through me. This session is about your recovery, not mine. "You sure about that? You remember everything you did yesterday? Every minute?" Samuel's eyes narrow. "Or are there gaps? Times you can't account for?" Before I can respond, the lights flicker again. Once, twice, and then a third time. 3 consecutive flashes. Rule 5. End the session immediately. "That's all for today," I announce, standing abruptly. "We'll continue tomorrow." Most patients look confused at the sudden dismissal, but Samuel Lowell just nods knowingly. As they file out, he hangs back. "Check your watch," he whispers as he passes. "Time doesn't move right in here." I glance at my watch. 9:47 a.m. The wall clock reads 9:32. A 15-minute discrepancy that makes no sense. After the last patient leaves, I sink back into my chair, trying to process what just happened. The silence of the empty hall presses against my ears until it's broken by a soft, distant whistling. Rule 2 flashes in my mind. If you hear whistling in the hallways after hours, stay in your office with the door closed. But it's not after hours. It's morning. The whistling grows louder, coming from the corridor leading to the east wing. Against my better judgment, I rise and move toward the sound. The east wing corridor is dimly lit, with several burnt-out fluorescent tubes creating pools of shadow. The whistling stops as I round the corner, replaced by the sound of footsteps moving away. At the far end of the hall, I catch a glimpse of someone rounding the corner. Old Bill Miller, the janitor, pushing his cleaning cart. I follow, calling out, "Bill! Hold up." When I reach the corner, I find myself facing the door to room 237. The water stains beneath it seem darker today, almost black rather than brown. The whistling resumes, seemingly coming from inside the room. I press my ear against the door. "Hello?" I call softly. "Is someone in there?" "Mason?" A voice replies, a familiar voice that stops my heart. "Mason, is that you? Help me. I'm trapped in here." It's my brother Andy's voice. My hand reaches for the door handle automatically. As my fingers touch the cold metal, a firm grip clamps down on my shoulder, yanking me backward. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Dr. Harmon hisses, her face tight with anger. "Rule 3. Room 237 is permanently closed." I stammer. "I thought I heard my brother." Her expression shifts from anger to concern. "Your brother is dead, Mason. You told me that yourself." "I know, but nothing. This is exactly how it starts." She glances at the door, then back to me. "When did you last take your medication?" "Last night. The Xanax, not the Ambien." She studies me for a moment. "Come with me. Now." As she leads me away, I glance back at room 237. For a split second, I swear I see water seeping under the door, black as oil, forming a small puddle on the linoleum floor. "Dr. Harmon, what's in that room?" "Really?" She doesn't slow her pace. "Water damage, like the rules say. The floor is unstable." "Then why did I hear—" "You heard what this place wanted you to hear." We reach her office, and she ushers me inside, locking the door behind us. "Listen carefully, Mason. There are forces at work in this facility that you don't understand yet." "What forces?" "Like the Managishi Lowell mentioned." She flinches at the word. "Where did you hear that term?" "Lowell brought it up in group. He said they were tunnel dwellers that borrow people." Dr. Harmon sinks into her chair. "Samuel Lowell worked in the Pinnacle mine for 30 years before it closed. The men who went deep into those tunnels, they saw things they couldn't explain. Most drank to forget. Some used harder stuff, and some, like Samuel, came back different." "Different how?" Instead of answering, she turns to her computer. "There's something you need to see. Something I should have shown you during orientation." She pulls up a patient file. The photo shows a young man, perhaps 25, with my exact face. The name reads, Andrew Keller. Admitted, June 17th, 2019. My dead brother admitted to New Horizons 7 months after his funeral. "This is impossible," I whisper, staring at my brother's face on the screen. I watched them lower Andy's casket into the ground. I threw dirt on it myself. Dr. Harmon's expression remains neutral, clinical. "Did you see his body at the funeral home?" The question catches me off guard. Number it was a closed casket, the medical examiner said. I pause, memory flickering. They said the damage from the overdose and the time before he was found made an open casket inadvisable. "Convenient," she murmurs, clicking through the file. "According to our records, Andrew Keller was admitted voluntarily after a near-fatal overdose. He listed you as his emergency contact, but requested we not inform you of his presence here. That's ridiculous. Why would he do that? Shame, perhaps, or something else. She turns the screen so I can better see. He was making good progress until March of last year, when he began exhibiting unusual behaviors, claiming he could hear singing from the woods, insisting something was watching him through other patients' eyes. My head pounds as I try to process this information. If this is true, if Andy was alive, why would he let me believe he was dead? And who the hell did I bury? Dr. Harmon closes the laptop. I don't know what funeral you attended, Mason, but your brother was very much alive when he came to us, and he was still alive when he disappeared from the facility on April 17th last year. Disappeared. He walked out during the night shift. Security footage shows him leaving through the East Wing emergency exit at 3:17 a.m. We searched the grounds, filed a missing persons report with the Wyoming County Sheriff's Department. Nothing came of it. April 17th, almost exactly a year ago. Why didn't you tell me this when I applied for the job? My voice rises with anger and confusion. You knew who I was, who Andy was to me. I wasn't certain at first. Keller isn't an uncommon name. When I realized the connection, I was curious. She removes her glasses, suddenly looking tired. I thought perhaps you knew more than you were letting on, that you had come here looking for answers about your brother. I came here because I was a recovering addict with limited job prospects. I snap. If I had known Andy was here, then what? What would you have done differently? She leans forward. Mason, there's something you need to understand about this facility, about this entire valley. It doesn't operate by normal rules. So I've gathered, I say bitterly. What does room 237 have to do with Andy? She tenses visibly. Who said it had anything to do with him? I heard his voice, coming from inside that room. Dr. Harmon is quiet for a long moment. That wasn't your brother, Mason. Whatever you heard, it was using his voice to get you to open that door. Rule 3 exists for a reason. What reason? What's really in there? Instead of answering, she pulls a worn leather journal from her desk drawer and slides it across to me. This was your brother's. He left it behind when he departed. I've been keeping it safe, waiting to see if he'd return. I take the journal with trembling hands. It's unmistakably Andy's. He had the same book since high school, filled with his thoughts, sketches, observations. I'd recognize it anywhere. Read it, Dr. Harmon says, rising from her chair. Pages 43 through 58 are particularly relevant. I need to handle the code yellow situation in the East Wing. We'll talk more after your afternoon sessions. She leaves me alone in her office with my dead, but maybe not dead brother's journal. The leather cover is worn smooth from years of handling, the pages wavy from moisture. I flip it open to page 43, dated February 12th of last year. Something strange happened last night. I was getting ice from the machine in the common area around 1 a.m. when I heard whistling from the east corridor. I know we're not supposed to go down there after dark, see the rules they make us follow, but it sounded like a kid whistling "You Are My Sunshine," Mom's favorite lullaby. Made me think of Mason. When I followed the sound, I found myself at a door marked 237. The whistling was coming from inside. I called out, asked who was there. And I swear to God I heard Mom's voice answer me. She's been dead for 12 years. I almost opened the door. Would have, if Nurse Campbell hadn't found me. She dragged me back to my room, gave me a sedative, said I was sleepwalking. But I wasn't. I know what I heard. I turned the page, heart racing. February 15th. The patients are talking about the people in the woods, how they come right up to the edge of the property at night, how they look like normal people but move wrong. Staff shuts down these conversations quickly. Tyler Brooks said he saw someone who looked exactly like Dr. Whitaker standing at the tree line, staring at the building, while the real Dr. Whitaker was running a group session. February 20th, room 237 again. The water stain under the door gets bigger every day. Sometimes it seems to move, like it's breathing. I asked Bill, the janitor, about it. He got real quiet, then told me that room used to be a shaft entrance back when this place was part of the mine operation. Said they sealed it up in '76 after an accident. But some things can't stay buried. Not reassuring. February 27th. Found a weird carving under my pillow today. A deer made from black wood. No idea how it got there. When I picked it up, it felt ice cold, like it had been in a freezer. There were initials carved on the bottom. A K, my initials. But I didn't make it. My blood runs cold at the mention of the deer carving, just like the one from Samuel Lowell in my desk. March 3rd. Something's wrong with me. Lost time today. According to Dr. Harmon, I was in art therapy from 2 to 4 p.m., but I have no memory of it. The other patients are starting to avoid me. Jessica Chin said I've been sleepwalking at night, standing over people's beds. She says my eyes look different when it happens. All pupil, no white. March 10th. The singing from the woods is getting louder. I can hear it even with my window closed, even with pillows over my head. It's in a language I don't recognize but somehow understand. They're calling people out, inviting them in. Last night, I saw Margaret Yates walking across the lawn toward the trees. She was moving backward. When I told the night staff, they said Margaret had been in her room all night. But this morning, her bed was empty. They're saying she was transferred. No one believes it. The entries grow more frantic, the handwriting increasingly erratic. March 18th. I know what they are now, Bill finally told me. The Shawnee called them Managishi. They live in the tunnels beneath the mountains. When the mining company broke into their chambers in 1954, they released something that should have stayed buried. That's why Blackwood Coal shut down operations here. Not because of the explosion that killed 29 miners, but because of what the explosion uncovered. The Managishi can wear humans like clothes. They can make perfect copies of us. They've been replacing people one by one. I think Dr. Harmon knows. She's trying to protect the patients, but it's not working. The rules are meant to keep us safe, but the rules aren't enough anymore. March 25th. I found more carvings today, under my mattress, in my shoes, inside my pillowcase. All animals, deer, birds, a black bear, all with my initials. I tried to throw them away, but they came back. They always come back. April 1st. I know now why the Managishi are fixated on me, on my family. Mason needs to know. Our great-grandfather wasn't killed in a miming accident like we were told. He was one of the first to be taken. These things hold grudges. They have long memories. They want to collect all of us. And I think they've found a way in through room 237. The final entry is dated April 16th, the night before Andy supposedly disappeared. They're coming for me tonight. I can feel it. The singing hasn't stopped for 3 days. Dr. Harmon has me on round-the-clock observation, but it won't help. They don't need doors. They come through the water, through the walls, through our dreams. If you're reading this, Mason, I know you will be somehow. Don't trust what you see here. Don't trust anyone who says they're trying to help you. The Managishi are excellent mimics, but they get details wrong. Watch for the inconsistencies. And whatever you do, don't open room 237. That's what they want. That's how they'll get out. I'm leaving tonight. Not running away, going to find answers. The old Blackwood mining records might tell me how to stop this. I think they're archived at the County Historical Society in Pineville. If I don't make it back, remember, the water stains are how you know they're close. Black water means they're watching. I love you, brother. I'm sorry for letting you think I was dead. It was the only way to keep you safe. Until it wasn't. The journal ends there. I sit back, mind reeling. If what Andy wrote is true, then nothing about New Horizon is what it seems. The rehabilitation center is a cover for something much darker. A soft knock interrupts my thoughts. The door opens, and old Bill Miller peers in, his leathery face creased with concern. Dr. Harmon sent me to check on you, he says. She's still dealing with that situation in the East Wing. Bill, I say, holding up Andy's journal. Did you know my brother? The old janitor's expression darkens. Andrew, good kid, smart, asked too many questions. About the Menegishi? About room 237? Bill's eyes widen. You shouldn't say that name out loud. Names have power. He glances nervously at the hallway. Your brother was right about the mining records, but he never made it to the Historical Society. How do you know that? Because I'm the one who found him. Bill steps closer, voice dropping to a whisper. Half a mile from here, at the old ventilation shaft entrance. He was... Bill stops abruptly, cocking his head as if listening. Someone's coming. Can't talk now. He turns to leave, but I grab his arm. Wait, what happened to Andy? Is he alive? Bill pulls away. Check the maintenance shed behind the building. Under the floorboards in the northeast corner. I kept something for you. His gaze shifts to the window, where afternoon shadows are lengthening. And remember Rule 1, never be outside after 7:30. He slips out, just as Nurse Campbell appears in the doorway. There you are, Mason. Your 1 o'clock session is waiting. And Dr. Harmon asked me to give you these. She hands me a small prescription bottle. The label reads, haloperidol, 5 milligrams. Take as needed for acute episodes. She's concerned about your mental state after this morning's events. I pocket the pills without comment, tucking Andy's journal into my bag. As I follow Nurse Campbell down the hallway, I glance at my watch. 1:17 p.m. The wall clock reads 12:52. Time doesn't move right in here, Samuel Lowell had said. Another inconsistency to watch for. Something tells me I'll find many more before the day is done. My 1 o'clock session is with Jessica Chen, the college student who Andy mentioned in his journal. She sits across from me in my cramped office, fidgeting with the sleeve of her oversized sweater. Outside, rain has started to fall, pattering against the window in an irregular rhythm. You seem distracted today, she says before I can begin our session. I force myself to focus. I'm fine. How are you feeling about your progress this week? Jessica studies me, head tilted slightly. You don't remember our conversation yesterday, do you? My pulse quickens. We didn't have a scheduled session yesterday. Not a session. She lowers her voice. You pulled me aside after dinner, asked me about what I saw the night your brother was here, about the sleepwalking. I try to keep my expression neutral. I think you're confused. You're not the only one with memory gaps around here. She glances nervously at the door. I've been having them too. Times when I can't account for hours of my day. She rolls up her sleeve, revealing small puncture marks in the crook of her elbow. These aren't from using. I haven't touched anything since I got here. These appear during my blackouts. I lean forward. Jessica, what exactly did you see regarding my brother? Her eyes dart to the window. It wasn't really sleepwalking. That's just what we call it. Sometimes at night, patients get different. Their movements change, like they're puppets being operated by someone who doesn't understand how bodies work. Their eyes go wrong. Wrong how? All black, no whites. She hugs herself. Your brother would stand over beds at night, just watching. But it wasn't him, not really. The next day, he never remembered doing it. A chill runs through me. And you've seen others doing this. She nods. Tyler Brooks last week, Margaret Yates before she transferred, and she hesitates. You, 2 nights ago. The room suddenly feels too small, the air too thick. That's not possible. I was at home. Were you? Jessica's voice is barely audible. Or is that just what you remember? Before I can respond, the lights flicker once, twice. We both look up, waiting for the third flicker that would force me to end our session per Rule 5. It doesn't come. They're listening, Jessica whispers. They always know when we talk about them. Who? The Managishi? Her eyes widen at the name. You know about them? From my brother's journal and Samuel Lowell. Jessica shudders. Lowell's been down in those tunnels. He's seen their home. That's why they can't take him completely. He knows too much. She checks her watch. Our time's almost up. But if you want to know more, meet me in the library during dinner. 6:15. The cameras in there don't work. Our session ends with the usual therapeutic platitudes, spoken loudly enough for anyone listening at the door. As Jessica leaves, she drops a small piece of paper on the floor. I wait until she's gone before picking it up. Don't trust Dr. Harmon. She's working with them. My next sessions go by in a blur. I'm physically present but mentally cataloging everything I've learned, trying to separate fact from paranoia. The rain intensifies throughout the afternoon, drumming against the roof and window panes. At 4:30, I have a 15-minute break before my final session. Just enough time to check the maintenance shed Bill mentioned. I grab my raincoat from my office and slip out the side entrance near the kitchen. The maintenance shed stands about 50 yards from the main building, a weathered wooden structure half hidden behind overgrown rhododendrons. The rain has turned the ground to mud that sucks at my shoes as I cross the lawn. The shed door is secured with a padlock, but it hangs open. The hasp bent, as if someone has forced it recently. Inside, the space is cramped and dim, smelling of motor oil and damp earth. Tool racks line the walls, and a rusty lawnmower occupies most of the floor space. I pull out my phone's flashlight and scan the shed's interior. In the northeast corner, just as Bill described, the wooden floorboards look newer than the rest, one plank slightly raised at the edge. I kneel down, mud soaking through my pants, and work my fingers under the loose board. It comes up with a groan of nails, revealing a small space beneath. A watertight plastic container sits in the cavity. When I pull it out and open the lid, I find a Ziploc bag containing a voice recorder, an old flip phone, and a handwritten note in handwriting I recognize as Andy's. Mason. If you're reading this, then my suspicions were right. You've come looking for me. The recorder has evidence. The phone has pictures. Do not watch or listen while on New Horizon property. They'll know. Wait until you're off grounds, preferably back in Charleston. I've discovered what they're planning. It's worse than we thought. The Managishi aren't just taking people. They're preparing for something bigger. The date matters. April 17th. Always April 17th. I'm going to try to stop it. If I don't come back, get these to Sheriff Mike Townsend in Pineville. He's not one of them. Yet. Andy. Today is April 16th. Whatever my brother discovered was set to happen tomorrow, exactly 1 year after his disappearance. I'm about to close the container when I notice something else beneath it. A small leather pouch. Inside are 4 small animal carvings made from the same black wood as the deer in my desk. An owl, a wolf, a bear, and what appears to be a mountain lion. Each has the initials AK burned into the bottom. As I examine them, a board creaks behind me. I whirl around, heart pounding, to find Samuel Lowell standing in the doorway, rain dripping from his thin frame. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he says, voice hardly audible above the rain. "Not this close to sunset." I quickly pocket the recorder and phone, leaving the carvings. "How did you know I was here?" "I followed you. Been watching." His gaunt face is eerily calm. "You found his things. Good. You'll need them. You knew my brother." It's not a question, but Lowell nods. "We were down in the deep tunnels together, back when Pinnacle was still operational, 1991. That's when we first broke through to their chamber." His eyes take on a distant look. 29 men died in the explosion they blamed on methane. But it wasn't methane. What was it? They protected their home the only way they knew how. But some got out in the chaos, been hiding among us ever since, taking people, making copies. I think of the patient file Dr. Harmon showed me. "Are you saying my brother didn't die from an overdose? That what I buried was something else? A shell? A convincing one?" Lowell steps further into the shed, lowering his voice. "They can make perfect copies, but the copies don't last. They need maintenance. Room 237 is where they do it." A chill runs through me that has nothing to do with the rain. "And Dr. Harmon? Is she involved?" Harmon thinks she's studying them, controlling them. His laugh is bitter. "Nobody controls the Managishi. They've been letting her think she's in charge, using this place as their base. The patients are perfect targets, isolated, often with severed family connections. Nobody asks too many questions when an addict disappears." "But what do they want? Why my family specifically?" Lowell glances at his watch. "Getting late. We need to get back inside." He turns to leave, then pauses. "Your great-grandfather, Thomas Keller. He was the foreman who ordered the drilling into their chamber. They have long memories, and tomorrow's the anniversary." "Of what?" "Of when they first came through 71 years ago. April 17th, 1954. It's when the barrier between our world and theirs is thinnest." He points to the carvings I've left in the hole. "Those aren't just wood. They're made from the roots of the tree, the one that grows at the center of their world. Same wood from the support beams in room 237. I glance down at the carvings. "What do they do?" "Mark you. Track you." Lowell backs toward the door. "Once they give you one, they can find you anywhere. Your brother collected them, trying to understand how they worked. Fat lot of good it did him." As Lowell turns to leave, I grab his arm. "Is my brother still alive?" His expression softens slightly. Parts of him are. The implications of his words send ice through my veins. What does that mean? But Lowell is already pulling away, eyes fixed on the darkening sky. "We need to go. Now Rule 1 exists for a reason." I glance at my watch, 5:23 p.m. Still more than 2 hours until the 7:30 curfew mentioned in Rule 1. "We have time," I say, pocketing the leather pouch with the carvings despite Lowell's warning. I can't leave them behind. "Clock's wrong," Lowell mutters, pointing to the horizon where the sun is rapidly sinking behind storm clouds. Time moves differently here, especially this close to the anniversary. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower. As if to confirm his words, my watch suddenly jumps ahead to 6:47 p.m. as I stare at it. "Jesus," I whisper. "Not him," Lowell says grimly. "Something much older. Come on." We hurry back toward the main building, rain pelting us as the daylight fades with unnatural speed. Halfway across the lawn, Lowell freezes, grabbing my arm. "Don't move," he whispers. At the edge of the woods that border the facility's grounds, a figure stands watching us. Through the curtain of rain, I can make out a familiar silhouette. Broad shoulders, slightly stooped posture. As I squint to see better, the figure takes a single step forward. It's me, an exact copy, down to the raincoat and mud-stained pants. But its movements are wrong, jerky and disjointed, like a marionette operated by an unskilled puppeteer. And even from this distance, I can see its eyes, solid black, no whites visible. "Don't look at it directly," Lowell hisses. "Don't acknowledge it. Just walk. Normal pace." We continue toward the building, my skin crawling with the knowledge that my doppelganger is watching. Just before we reach the door, I can't help but glance back. The figure is gone. But in its place, standing in perfect formation at the tree line, are dozens of silhouettes. Patients and staff I recognize, all watching with those same black eyes, all completely motionless despite the driving rain. And among them, in the center, stands a figure that looks exactly like my brother Andy. Lowell and I burst through the side entrance, dripping rainwater onto the linoleum floor. The fluorescent lights flicker as the door slams behind us, momentarily plunging the hallway into darkness before humming back to life. "They're getting ready," Lowell mutters, his thin frame shivering. More active than I've ever seen them. My mind is still reeling from the sight of my own face staring back at me from the tree line. That thing outside, that was what Dr. Harmon showed me in the security footage, wasn't it? Not me, but something pretending to be me. Lowell nods grimly. "They've been working on your double for a while now. Not perfect yet. That's why Lowell reacted so badly yesterday. He could tell it wasn't really you." "You're talking about yourself in the third person," I observe, a chill running through me that has nothing to do with my wet clothes. Something flickers in Lowell's eyes. Confusion, then clarity. Force of habit. When they take you for a while, you start to feel disconnected from yourself. He glances at the wall clock, 7:03 p.m. "You need to dry off and get to the library. Jessica will be waiting." "You're not coming?" "Can't. They watch me too closely. They know I remember too much about the tunnels." He starts backing away down the corridor. "Whatever you do, stay inside tonight. And Mason," his voice drops to a whisper, "if you hear whistling, don't follow it, no matter whose voice calls to you after." Before I can respond, Nurse Campbell rounds the corner, her stern expression softening slightly when she sees my drenched state. "Mr. Keller, you're soaked through, and Mr. Lowell..." She turns to where Lowell had been standing, but the hallway is empty. He's vanished silently, impossibly fast. Campbell frowns. "Wasn't someone just with you?" "He went to change," I lie, heart racing. "I should do the same." "No time. Dr. Harmon wants to see you immediately. She's quite concerned about your behavior today." "I need to check on my patients first." "I have. Your sessions have been reassigned." Her tone leaves no room for argument. Dr. Harmon is waiting in her office. As we walk, I'm acutely aware of the voice recorder, phone, and wooden carvings weighing down my pockets. If Dr. Harmon is involved with the Manajishi, as Jessica suggested, I can't let her find Andy's evidence. "I'll just be a minute," I say, gesturing to the men's restroom. "Need to dry off a bit." Campbell hesitates, then nods. "Be quick." Inside the bathroom, I lock myself from a stall and quickly transfer the items to my ankle holster. A hidden pocket in my sock designed to conceal pill bottles during my addiction days. It's a tight fit, but everything disappears beneath my pant leg. I use paper towels to dry my face and hair as best I can, then join Campbell in the hallway. Dr. Harmon's office door is closed when we arrive. Campbell knocks sharply, then leaves without waiting for a response. I take a deep breath and enter. The office is empty. "Dr. Harmon?" I call, stepping inside cautiously. The room appears exactly as it did this morning. Desk cluttered with files, bookshelves lined with medical texts, framed diplomas on the wall. But something feels off. The air is cooler, with a faint earthy smell like wet soil. Water. A thin line of black liquid seeps from beneath the inner office door, forming a small puddle on the carpet. My instinct is to back away, to run, but I need answers. I approach the inner door slowly, pulse pounding in my ears. The black substance has the consistency of water, but reflects no light, like liquid shadow. I knock softly. "Dr. Harmon?" "Come in, Mason." Her voice sounds normal, professional. "I've been waiting for you." Hand trembling, I turn the knob and push the door open. The inner office is transformed. Where there should be a small conference room with a table and chairs, there's now a vast cavernous space that can't possibly fit within the building's dimensions. The walls glisten with moisture, the floor ankle-deep in black water that ripples with my every movement. In the center stands Dr. Harmon, clipboard in hand, completely dry despite the water surrounding her. Behind her looms a massive structure, an ancient oak tree with bark as black as coal, roots disappearing into the water, branches scraping a ceiling I can't see in the darkness above. "Fascinating, isn't it?" Dr. Harmon says conversationally, as if we're discussing a peculiar case study. "We call it the source tree. It's how they first entered our world when the mining explosion breached the barrier." I remain frozen in the doorway, unable to process what I'm seeing. What is this place? A halfway point. Not quite their world. Not quite ours. She makes a notation on her clipboard. The Monogishi can't exist fully in our reality without a connection to their own. Room 237 contains another entrance, but this one is private, for research purposes. Research, I repeat numbly. You're studying them. For decades. Pride creeps into her voice. My father was one of the miners who survived the 1954 incident. He recognized the potential immediately. Entities that could assume human form, potentially indefinitely, with the right conditions. The military applications alone are staggering. This isn't a rehabilitation center at all, is it? She smiles thinly. Oh, it serves that purpose too. We need subjects after all. People society has already begun to discard. People who won't be missed. She steps closer, water rippling around her ankles, though her shoes remain inexplicably dry. Your brother understood eventually. He was actually helping us before the end. Liar, I spit. Andy was trying to expose you. That's why he disappeared. Dr. Harmon sighs. Is that what you've pieced together from his paranoid ramblings? Andrew was brilliant but unstable. When he learned of his family connection to the original incident, he became obsessed. Started communicating directly with them, without protocols or protection. She taps her clipboard. The Monogishi found him particularly compatible. Almost a perfect match. A horrible realization dawns on me. The thing I saw outside, the one that looked like Andy. That's not just a copy, is it? You've done something to my brother. We've given him purpose, permanence. Her voice softens, almost maternal. And we can do the same for you, Mason. The Keller bloodline has unique properties, a genetic resonance with their biorhythms. That's why they've been drawn to your family for generations. I back away, bumping into the doorframe. You're insane. I'm practical. The barrier between worlds thins every year on April 17th, the anniversary of first contact. Tomorrow, it will be at its weakest point in 7 decades. We've prepared for this, Mason. Your brother's integration was just the beginning. She extends her hand. Join us willingly. It's less traumatic that way. Instead of responding, I slam the door shut and bolt from her office, heart hammering against my ribs. Behind me, I hear her call out calmly, "It's already started, Mason. Check your watch." In the main hallway, I pause to catch my breath and glance at my watch. 7:29 p.m. 1 minute until the curfew stipulated in Rule 1. I need to find Jessica in the library to see what else she knows. The facility has grown unnaturally quiet. No patients in the hallways, no staff at their stations. As I hurry toward the library, I notice black water stains spreading beneath doors, trickling along baseboards. The building itself seems to be weeping this strange liquid. The library is dark when I arrive, the only illumination coming from emergency exit signs that cast everything in a sickly red glow. Rows of bookshelves create shadowed aisles, perfect for hiding, or for something to hide in. "Jessica?" I call softly, moving between the shelves. "It's Mason." A rustling sound comes from the reference section in the back corner. I follow it cautiously, phone in hand for light, though I'm hesitant to use it and draw attention. I find her crouched behind the large reference desk, knees pulled to her chest. Her eyes widen when she sees me, finger immediately pressing to her lips in a shushing gesture. "They're looking for us," she whispers as I kneel beside her. "Dr. Harmon has ordered a facility-wide search." I just came from her office, I tell her, keeping my voice low. "Jessica, she has some kind of portal in there. She admitted everything." Jessica nods. I'm surprised. They have portals all over the building now. Room 237 was just the first. They're preparing for tomorrow, for the thinning. "How do you know all this?" "Because I've been taken before." She rolls up her sleeve again, revealing those strange puncture marks. They don't always replace you entirely. Sometimes they just borrow you for a while. Use you to watch, to listen. I wake up with these marks and gaps in my memory. I think of the security footage Dr. Harmon showed me, of me smiling in that unnatural way at Samuel Lowell. They've been borrowing me too, haven't they? She nods grimly. "That's why I trusted you with this." From her pocket, she produces a folded map of the facility with handwritten notations. "I have been tracking the spread of the black water. It always appears before they do, like some kind of advanced scout." The map shows dark X marks throughout the building, but heavily concentrated in the east wing near room 237. A large circle surrounds what appears to be maintenance tunnels beneath the facility. "The original mine shafts," Jessica explains. "They connect to the old Pinnacle mine system. That's how they move around undetected, how they bring new ones through." "New ones? You mean there are more coming?" "Tomorrow, when the barrier thins completely." Her voice trembles. Dr. Harmon thinks she's in control, but this is all some government black ops project she's managing. But the Managishi are just using her, using all of us. A soft whistling echoes through the library, the tune of "You Are My Sunshine," just as Andy described in his journal. Jessica freezes, face draining of color. "Don't listen," she hisses. "Don't follow it." The whistling grows louder, closer, moving between the shelves like someone searching. Then it stops, replaced by a voice that makes my blood run cold. "Mason." It's Andy's voice, identical to what I heard outside room 237. "Mason, I know you're in here. I need your help, brother." Jessica grips my arm, fingers digging painfully into my flesh. "It's not him," she mouths silently. "The others are coming, Mason." Andy's voice continues, disturbingly close now. Dr. Harmon can't control what's about to happen, but we can stop it together. I found a way. Despite Jessica's warning, despite everything I've learned, the sound of my brother's voice pulls at something primal within me. I start to rise, but Jessica yanks me back down. "That's how they get you," she whispers fiercely. "They use the voices of people you love." I run. There's no strategy, no plan. Just blind animal panic propelling me through the rain-slicked grounds, away from the thing wearing my brother's face. My feet splash through puddles of black water that seems to cling like oil, each step becoming heavier than the last. The watching figures by the tree line don't pursue, but they don't need to. They're everywhere, materializing from shadows, rising from dark puddles, stepping out from behind equipment sheds and dumpsters. All with those same obsidian eyes, all moving with that same wrong gait. Patients and staff I recognize alongside strangers with vacant expressions. I veer toward the staff parking lot. My car keys are still in my pocket, a small miracle I hadn't dared hope for. If I can just reach my Honda, I might have a chance. A shrill whistle cuts through the rain to my right. One of the Davidson twins stands by the garden shed, head tilted at an impossible angle. I change direction, heart hammering against my ribs. Another whistle, this time from the left. Dr. Whitaker emerges from behind a maintenance van, his normally immaculate appearance disheveled, white coat soaked through and stained with streaks of black. They're hurting me, I realize with growing dread, like wolves circling wounded prey. The parking lot comes into view through the curtain of rain, cars gleaming wetly under security lights. Mine is at the far end, near the exit gate. I sprint for it, lungs burning, muscles screaming in protest. Something grabs my ankle, a hand erupting from a puddle of black water, fingers elongated and boneless. I crash face first into mud, my chin splitting open on impact. The metallic taste of blood fills my mouth as I kick wildly at my attacker, connecting with something solid that gives way with a sickening squelch. Scrambling to my feet, I risk a glance back. The hand has no owner, just an arm extending from the oily puddle like a grotesque periscope. It writhes blindly, searching for me. I reach my car, fumbling with keys slippery with mud and blood. Behind me, the whistling chorus grows louder, more insistent. The key slides home into the lock, an older model without remote entry, another small mercy, and I wrench the door open, throwing myself inside. As I slam the door shut, something heavy impacts the passenger window. Jessica's face pressed against the glass, eyes now completely black, mouth moving in silent pleading. Her skin has a gray, waxy appearance, black fluid leaking from her nostrils and ears. "Let me in, Mason," she mouths, voice somehow audible through the glass. "You can't leave me with them." My hand hovers over the lock button. Is there still something of Jessica left in there? Could I save her? The decision is made for me when her face suddenly contorts, jaw unhinging like a snake's, to reveal too many needle-like teeth. Her fist punches through the passenger window in a shower of safety glass, elongated fingers grasping for me. I jam the key into the ignition and crank the engine. It sputters once, twice before roaring to life. Jessica's arm continues to snake through the broken window, fingers inches from my face. I slam the gear shift into reverse and stomp the accelerator. The car lurches backward, tires spinning in mud before finding purchase. Jessica is dragged alongside briefly before losing her grip. In my rearview mirror, I see her form crumpled on the pavement, already beginning to rise again with jerky, puppet-like movements. I shift to drive and aim for the exit gate. It's closed. Of course it's closed, but I don't slow down. The Honda hits the barrier at 40 miles per hour, metal screaming against metal. The gate gives way, tearing off my side mirror as I fishtail onto the main road. Rain lashes the windshield, wipers struggling to maintain visibility as I speed down Route 10. My phone buzzes in my pocket. No, not my phone. The flip phone from Andy's stash. I fish it out with trembling fingers, keeping one eye on the winding mountain road. One new message, sent seconds ago from an unknown number. You can't outrun them. They have your scent now. The carvings are trackers. Ditch them if you want to live. I glance at my ankle holster, the leather pouch containing the 4 animal carvings tucked inside. Could they really be tracking me? After my experiences tonight, I'm not willing to discount anything, but I can't just pull over on this deserted mountain road, not when I can still see black-eyed figures emerging from the woods in my rearview mirror, their movements unnaturally fast. I need somewhere safe, somewhere public. Pineville is 15 minutes away. Sheriff's office. Potential help. But if the Managishi have infiltrated the community as thoroughly as it seems, nowhere in Wyoming County might be safe. Another text. Head to Powell River, Virginia state line, cross running water. They struggle with that. The Virginia border is almost an hour away. Can I make it that far? Do I have a choice? I press harder on the accelerator, the speedometer climbing past 70 on roads designed for 40. Each curve threatens to send me careening into the mountainside or over the guardrail into the ravines below. The radio turns on by itself, static crackling before settling on, "You Are My Sunshine." The same song the Managishi were whistling. I punch the power button, but the music continues growing louder. "You can't run from us, Mason." Andy's voice emerges from the static. "We're already with you." I look down at my ankle where the leather pouch rests against my skin. With one hand on the wheel, I reach down and yank it free, tossing it out the shattered passenger window into the night. The radio immediately dies, plunging the car into blessed silence, broken only by the drumming rain and my ragged breathing. 10 minutes down the mountain, the road straightens as it follows the Guyandot River Valley. My headlights illuminate a figure standing in the middle of the road. Old Bill Miller, the janitor. Hands raised in a stopping gesture. I swerve to avoid him, nearly losing control on the wet asphalt. "Stop, you fool!" he shouts as I pass. "You're headed the wrong way." I slow down, indecision gripping me. Can I trust him? He seemed to be helping before, warning me about the maintenance shed, but after what I've seen tonight. Making a split-second decision, I wrench the wheel, executing a screeching U-turn that sends the Honda fishtailing across the center line. I pull up alongside Bill, keeping the engine running, ready to floor it at the first sign of those black eyes. Bill's eyes, when he approaches my driver's side window, are normal, roomy, bloodshot with age, but human. He's soaked to the bone, gray hair plastered to his scalp. "Virginia's no good," he says without preamble. "They've spread that way already. You need to go west, across the Guyandota, then south toward Welch. There's a man there who can help. Raymond Blackwood." "Blackwood? Like the coal company?" Bill nods grimly. His grandfather owned the mine. He knows what they are, has been fighting them for decades. He glances nervously at the road behind me. "They're coming. Fast. Take this." He thrusts a small leather bag through the window. Salt and iron filings. Won't stop them, but slows them down. "What about you?" I ask, spotting movement in my mirrors. shadowy figures emerging from the tree line behind us. Too late for me. He rolls up his sleeve, revealing skin mottled with spreading patches of gray. Black liquid oozes from a wound on his forearm. Been fighting it since sunset. Can't hold them off much longer. His eyes meet mine, fierce with determination. Find Blackwood. Tell him it's happening again. April 17th. Bill, go, he shouts, already backing away. And don't trust anything you see tonight, especially if it looks familiar. I floor the accelerator, tires squealing as the Honda leaps forward. In my rearview mirror, I see Bill sink to his knees in the middle of the road, body convulsing as dark liquid crawls up his neck toward his face. The next 20 minutes pass in a blur of rain-slick roads and hairpin turns. I follow Bill's directions, taking the bridge across the Guyandotte River and heading south on Route 16 toward Welch. The mountain roads are treacherous in the best conditions. In tonight's downpour, each curve threatens disaster. The flip phone buzzes again. Almost got you. Clever, ditching the carvings. But we don't need them anymore. We have your brother. We have Jessica. And soon, we'll have you. Attached is a photo that makes my blood run cold. Jessica strapped to what looks like a hospital bed, black fluid being pumped into her veins from an IV bag. Her eyes are open, entirely black, staring directly at the camera with a silent scream frozen on her face. The message is clear. This is what awaits me if I'm caught. I toss the phone onto the passenger seat, focusing on the winding road ahead. The rain has intensified, reducing visibility to mere feet. My wipers can barely keep up, and the defroster struggles against the fog forming on the inside of my windshield. Something dark darts across the road, a deer, I think, until it stops and turns. In the split second, my headlights illuminate it. I see it's shaped like a deer, but wrong. Skin smooth and black like wet coal. Too many spindly legs. No head where a head should be. I swerve instinctively, the Honda's tires losing traction on the wet asphalt. The world spins as the car hydroplanes, crashing through the guardrail with a scream of tearing metal. There's a moment of terrible weightlessness as the vehicle goes airborne off the mountainside. Time slows. Through the windshield, I watch the dark canopy of trees rush up to meet me. The car hits the first branches, slowing its descent in a cacophony of snapping wood and shattering glass. My seatbelt locks, slamming me back against the seat as the world tumbles around me. The final impact knocks the breath from my lungs. The Honda comes to rest upside down, crumpled against the trunk of a massive oak. Pain blossoms across my chest and left arm. Something warm trickles down my forehead into my eyes. Blood, I realize dimly. I hang suspended by my seatbelt, disoriented and injured, but alive. Through the shattered windshield, rain pours into the inverted cabin. My phone and Andy's flip phone are gone, likely thrown from the vehicle during the crash. With trembling fingers, I release the seatbelt catch, collapsing painfully onto the ceiling of the car. Every movement sends fresh waves of agony through my left arm, broken most likely. But I have to move. Have to get out. I crawl through the driver's side window, shards of glass slicing my palms. The forest floor is slick with mud and rain, the darkness nearly absolute except for one functioning headlight throwing bizarre shadows through the trees. Standing is an exercise in pure willpower. My left arm hangs useless at my side, and a quick self-assessment reveals multiple cuts, bruised or possibly cracked ribs, and a gash on my forehead that continues to seep blood. I have no idea where I am. The road is somewhere above me, hidden by the canopy and darkness. My only source of light is the single functioning headlight of my wrecked car, and even that seems to be dimming as the battery dies. A whistle echoes through the trees, that same haunting melody. You are my sunshine. They've found me. The whistling surrounds me now, coming from multiple directions at once. I stumble away from the wreckage, using the dying headlight as a guide to put as much distance as possible between myself and the road. Each step is agony, my body a catalog of injuries screaming for attention. Rain continues to pour through the forest canopy, turning the ground into treacherous mud that threatens to pull me down with every step. I have no idea which direction leads to safety, if safety even exists anymore. I only know I need to keep moving. The forest grows denser as I descend the mountainside, ancient trees pressing close like silent sentinels. Without my phone or any source of light, I navigate by touch, using my good arm to feel my way from trunk to trunk. Behind me, the whistling grows closer. I risk a glance back and immediately wish I hadn't. The headlight of my car illuminates several figures picking their way down the slope. Jessica, Dr. Whitaker, and what looks like old Bill Miller, all moving with that distinctive wrong gait, all with those solid black eyes, visible even at this distance. I press on, fighting panic, trying to remember the leather pouch Bill gave me. Salt and iron filings. Won't stop them, but slows them down, he'd said. I fumble in my pocket with blood-slick fingers, finally extracting the small bag. The sound of rushing water reaches my ears, a creek or small river somewhere ahead. Bill had said they struggle with running water. If I can reach it, I might have a chance. I stumble forward with renewed determination, the whistling now close enough that it feels like it's inside my own head. The trees begin to thin, and the sound of water grows louder. Through gaps in the foliage, I catch glimpses of moonlight reflecting off moving water. Just as I break through the tree line onto the muddy bank of what appears to be a sizable creek, swollen with rainwater, a voice calls from directly behind me. "Mason, wait!" I spin around, nearly losing my footing on the slick bank. Jessica stands at the edge of the trees, her form silhouetted against the distant glow of my car's headlight. She looks almost normal now. No black eyes, no oozing fluid, just Jessica looking frightened and hurt. "Please," she says, taking a tentative step forward. "Don't leave me with them. I'm fighting it, but I can't hold on much longer." For a moment, doubt creeps in. Could there still be something of the real Jessica left? Could she be fighting the Managishi influence? "Stay back," I warn, clutching the leather pouch. "I know what you are." "It's me, Mason, I swear." Her voice cracks with emotion. "They haven't completely taken me yet, but they will if you leave me here." She takes another step forward, extending her hand. It looks normal, human. "Please, help me." I hesitate, torn between compassion and survival. Then I notice it. The rain passing straight through her outstretched hand, hitting the ground without making contact with her skin. An illusion. "You're not real," I say, backing toward the creek. "None of you are." Jessica's face twists with rage, her features melting and reforming into the gaunt visage of Samuel Lowell. "Smart boy," he hisses, voice no longer Jessica's, but not smart enough. The trees behind him come alive with movement as more figures emerge, at least a dozen of them. Some familiar faces from New Horizon, others strangers with that same wrong gait and black eyes. I turn and plunge into the creek, gasping as the frigid water hits my injuries like a physical blow. The current is stronger than I expected, the creek swollen to near river proportions by the ongoing downpour. It pulls at my legs, threatening to sweep me away. Behind me, the Managishi stop at the water's edge, their whistling rising to a fevered pitch. Through the curtain of rain, I see them testing the water with elongated fingers, only to withdraw with hisses of pain as the current touches them. Bill was right. Running water does affect them. I wade deeper, fighting the current, aiming for the opposite bank about 20 feet away. The cold numbs my injuries, which is both blessing and curse. Less pain, but growing weakness in my limbs. Halfway across, my foot slips on a moss-covered rock, and the current takes me. I plunge fully into the rushing water, my broken arm exploding with fresh agony as it impacts a submerged boulder. Water fills my nose and mouth as I'm pulled downstream, tumbling in the current like a rag doll. Survival instinct kicks in. I fight to keep my head above water, using my good arm to try to steer toward the bank. The creek carries me around a bend and out of sight of my pursuers. Small mercy in a night of horrors. After what feels like an eternity, but is probably less than a minute, my body slams into a fallen tree spanning the creek. I cling to it desperately, using the last of my strength to pull myself along the trunk toward the far bank. Collapsing on the muddy shore, I lie gasping like a landed fish, too exhausted to move further. Rain continues to pelt my face as I stare up at the cloud-covered sky, consciousness wavering. A light appears in the distance, a flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, sweeping back and forth along the creek bank. Friend or foe, I have no energy left to run. I can only wait as the light approaches, accompanied by the crunch of boots on gravel. Jesus Christ, a gruff voice mutters as the beam falls on my prone form. You look half dead, son. I squint against the light, making out the silhouette of a man in a rain poncho, a shotgun cradled in one arm, flashlight in his other hand. Are you Raymond Blackwood? I manage to croak. The flashlight wavers. Who wants to know? Mason Keller. Bill Miller sent me. Said you could help. Bill sent you? Tonight of all nights? The man kneels beside me, keeping the shotgun ready. Your eyes look human enough. Let's see your teeth. What? Open your mouth. Now. Too weak to argue, I comply. The man inspects my very human teeth with the flashlight beam, then nods, apparently satisfied. Can you walk? He asks, already moving to help me up. My place is just up the ridge, not safe out here, not tonight. With his assistance, I struggle to my feet. The man, presumably Raymond Blackwood, is in his 70s, with a weathered face and white beard, but his grip is iron as he helps me limp up a narrow path away from the creek. They're coming, I warn him, glancing back toward the water. The Managishi, lots of them. They won't cross the creek, he says confidently. Not on April 16th. Their power's strong, but they're still bound by certain rules. Rules, I echo bitterly. Like at New Horizon. Harmon's little experiment. He spits to the side. Been telling her for years it would backfire. Can't control what you don't understand. The path winds steeply upward through dense forest for about a quarter mile before opening onto a small clearing. A cabin stands in the center, built of sturdy logs with a metal roof that rings with the sound of rain. Solar panels and a satellite dish suggest it's more modern than it first appears. Blackwood ushers me inside, locking 3 separate deadbolts behind us. The interior is warm and dry, illuminated by battery-powered lanterns. One wall is covered with maps of the region, red pins marking locations throughout Wyoming County. Another wall holds weapons, shotguns, rifles, and what appears to be mining equipment. Sit, he orders, pointing to a chair by a wood-burning stove. Let me look at that arm. As he examines my injuries, Blackwood listens to my abbreviated account of the night's events. My discovery of Andy's journal, Dr. Harmon's revelation about the source tree, the doppelgangers, and my escape from New Horizon. Sounds like they're getting bolder, he says grimly, splinting my arm with practiced efficiency. Usually they're more subtle. Infiltrate slowly. Take a few people at a time. If they're moving in force like this, something big is happening. The anniversary, I say. April 17th. Tomorrow. Blackwood nods, moving to a cabinet where he retrieves a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. 71 years since they first broke through. I was just a boy, but I remember it like yesterday. He pours 2 generous measures, handing one to me. My grandfather owned the Blackwood Coal Company. I was there the day of the explosion, playing near the administrative building while Granddad worked. His eyes take on a faraway look. I saw what really came out of that mine shaft. Wasn't just smoke and debris. I sipped the whiskey, welcoming the burn. What exactly are they? Lowell called them Managishi, said they were from Shawnee legends. The name Shawnee, yes. Little people who live in the rocks. But what they are? He shrugs. Another world, maybe. Another dimension that overlaps with ours in certain places. The deep mine shafts create doorways where the barrier is thin. He gestures to the maps on the wall. I've been tracking them for decades. After the initial outbreak in '54, we thought we'd sealed them in. My grandfather dynamited the main shaft, buried it under tons of rock. But they found other ways out. Through room 237, I say, and Dr. Harmon's office. And a dozen other places throughout these mountains. Blackwood points to the red pins on his map. Old mine entrances, natural caves, places where the ground is thin above their tunnels. He takes a long swallow of whiskey. Every year on April 17th, the anniversary of first contact, the barrier weakens. They can bring more of their kind through. Most years it's manageable. A few slip out. We hunt them down. But this year, he trails off, eyes troubled. What's different about this year? 71 years. 7 and 1. Significant numbers to them. He rises, moving to a bookshelf where he retrieves an ancient-looking leather journal. My grandfather started recording everything after the incident. Their behaviors, weaknesses, the patterns they follow. He flips through the yellowed pages. Every 71 years, there's a major thinning of the barrier. Not just at one location, but throughout their entire territory. The last time was 1883, when the first prospectors began tunneling into these mountains. Entire settlements vanished overnight. Cold dread settles in my stomach. And tomorrow is the 71-year anniversary of the 1954 incident. Exactly. Blackwood's expression is grave. They're not just trying to take a few more hosts, Mason. They're preparing for a full-scale emergence. And Dr. Harmon? She knows this. Eliza thinks she's running the show. That her research is controlling the situation. His laugh is bitter. Her father was the same way. Howard Harmon was the geologist who ordered the drilling into that particular section of the mountain, despite warnings from local miners about the zinging rocks. He survived the explosion but came back. Changed. I sit in my car outside the abandoned ruins of New Horizon Rehabilitation Center, watching as April rain drums against the windshield. The facility has been closed for exactly 1 year now, ever since the tragic electrical fire that claimed the lives of 23 patients and staff members. At least that's what the official report says. The truth lies buried beneath the charred remains of the East Wing, sealed under tons of concrete and steel that the state poured into what they thought was just a collapsed portion of the old mining tunnels. They have no idea what's really down there, frozen in time since that night. Blackwood and I made it to the original source tree, a gnarled, ancient thing pulsing with otherworldly energy at the bottom of shaft number 7. We weren't alone. Dr. Harmon was there with dozens of the converted, including Andy and Jessica, all gathered around that nightmare growth like worshippers at an altar. The fighting was chaotic, desperate. Blackwood fell first, his body seized by the Managishi when black water touched his skin. I remember his eyes changing, the shotgun turning in my direction. I remember pulling the trigger, honoring our agreement. I remember Andy standing between me and the source tree, his face a battleground, half brother, half monster, as he fought their control long enough to whisper, "Do it, Mason. End this." The explosion collapsed the entire tunnel system. I barely escaped, dragging Blackwood's body with me. The official investigation ruled it a methane explosion, just like in '54, history repeating itself. Now I'm the only one left who knows the truth, the only one still hunting. Because they didn't all die that night. Some were already spread throughout the community. Perfect copies living ordinary lives in Pineville, Welch, and beyond. I've been tracking them using Blackwood's methods, watching for the subtle signs, aversions to running water, missing time, the slight wrongness to their movements when they think no one's watching. Last month I found the county assessor whistling, "You Are My Sunshine," as he processed property documents. His eyes turned black when I confronted him with salt and iron. The week before that, it was a nurse at Pineville Memorial Hospital. The leather journal in my glove compartment contains 47 confirmed cases so far. Blackwood was right. This will be the work of a lifetime. I check my watch. 11:58 p.m., April 16th. Almost midnight. Almost the anniversary. From the ruins of New Horizon, I swear I can hear faint whistling carried on the night breeze, a chorus of melodies blending and separating, calling to something deep within the sealed tunnels. The barrier is still thin on this night. I can feel it. A pressure behind my eyes, an itch beneath my skin that's never quite gone away since that night a year ago. I reach for the shotgun on my passenger seat, loaded with Blackwood's special shells. There won't be a large-scale emergence tonight. We made sure of that. But the anniversary still has power. The Managishi still remember. As the digital clock on my dashboard clicks over to midnight, my phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. "We miss you, brother. Don't worry. We're still coming through. Just more slowly now. See you soon." Attached is a photo of me, sitting in my car outside New Horizon, taken seconds ago from somewhere in the darkness. I start the engine and drive away, eyes scanning the tree line for movement. The hunting continues. It will always continue, because I've learned the most important rule of all. The Managishi are patient. They've been waiting in the dark for centuries, and they know my name. I sit in my car outside the abandoned ruins of New Horizon Rehabilitation Center, watching as April rain drums against the windshield. The facility has been closed for exactly 1 year now, ever since the tragic electrical fire that claimed the lives of 23 patients and staff members. At least that's what the official report says. The truth lies buried beneath the charred remains of the East Wing, sealed under tons of concrete and steel that the state poured into what they thought was just a collapsed portion of the old mining tunnels. They have no idea what's really down there, frozen in time since that night. Blackwood and I made it to the original source tree, a gnarled, ancient thing pulsing with otherworldly energy at the bottom of shaft number 7. We weren't alone. Dr. Harmon was there with dozens of the converted, including Andy and Jessica, all gathered around that nightmare growth like worshippers at an altar. The fighting was chaotic, desperate. Blackwood fell first, his body seized by the Managishi when black water touched his skin. I remember his eyes changing, the shotgun turning in my direction. I remember pulling the trigger, honoring our agreement. I remember Andy standing between me and the source tree, his face a battleground, half brother, half monster, as he fought their control long enough to whisper, "Do it, Mason. End this." The explosion collapsed the entire tunnel system. I barely escaped, dragging Blackwood's body with me. The official investigation ruled it a methane explosion, just like in '54, history repeating itself. Now I'm the only one left who knows the truth, the only one still hunting. Because they didn't all die that night. Some were already spread throughout the community. Perfect copies living ordinary lives in Pineville, Welch, and beyond. I've been tracking them using Blackwood's methods, watching for the subtle signs, aversions to running water, missing time, the slight wrongness to their movements when they think no one's watching. Last month, I found the county assessor whistling "You Are My Sunshine" as he processed property documents. His eyes turned black when I confronted him with salt and iron. The week before that, it was a nurse at Pineville Memorial Hospital. The leather journal in my glove compartment contains 47 confirmed cases so far. Blackwood was right. This will be the work of a lifetime. I check my watch. 11:58 p.m. April 16th. Almost midnight. Almost the anniversary. From the ruins of New Horizon, I swear I can hear faint whistling carried on the night breeze, a chorus of melodies blending and separating, calling to something deep within the sealed tunnels. The barrier is still thin on this night. I can feel it. A pressure behind my eyes, an itch beneath my skin that's never quite gone away since that night a year ago. I reach for the shotgun on my passenger seat, loaded with Blackwood's special shells. There won't be a large-scale emergence tonight. We made sure of that. But the anniversary still has power. The Managishi still remember. As the digital clock on my dashboard clicks over to midnight, my phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. "We miss you, brother. Don't worry. We're still coming through, just more slowly now. See you soon." Attached is a photo of me, sitting in my car outside New Horizon, taken seconds ago from somewhere in the darkness. I start the engine and drive away, eyes scanning the tree line for movement. The hunting continues. It will always continue, because I've learned the most important rule of all. The Managishi are patient. They've been waiting in the dark for centuries, and they know my name.